Hey guys, how are you today? So I wanted to uncover some information about Mercury in retrograde. So Mercury is the smallest of the planets traveling the closest to Earth, and it takes about 14 to 30 days for it to go through each sign, which is approximately 1 year for it to orbit around the sun. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It rules communication, media, transportation, our conscience, computers, and local and immediate technology that gets you from A to B. And it rules the communicative signs of Gemini and Virgo. I like to look at retrogrades how I look at vacations. So pretty much a retrograde is all about reflection of whatever that planet stands for. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, it really is a reflection for our communication, our health, our ideas, our intellects, our thought processes, and our exchange of information. Everything that's expressed on a day-to-day basis. Within a retrograde, there are 4 stationary periods that are very important to understand. With Mercury going into retrograde about 3 to 4 times a year, these stationary transits are a lot more potent than others. And I would definitely suggest for dates to be written in your scheduling books. So during the post shadow is about 3 weeks in where you're gearing up to get ready for this vacation. This is when you start to kind of like slug off, get a little sluggish, prepare, pack up, make sure you have everything that you need, and start telling everybody about your vacation. Now obviously when you're going into Mercury in retrograde, for those who don't know what's going on, they probably won't be talking about this, but a lot of astrologers and a lot of people who utilize astrology definitely are talking about it. When Mercury goes in retrograde, this is when miscommunication takes place of our consciousness. Mercury in retrograde creates a fog over common sense, and it's easy to become lethargic or experience some kind of awareness on any setbacks towards your health. Mercury governs both Gemini and Virgo, with Gemini representing media and short distance travel and your neighborhood. This can cause some conflicts in those areas. Short travel and media are definitely in haywire. You might have some difficulty of connecting or getting a hold of some news reports, or might have to recheck travel times and prepare for any accidents, delays, or no-shows. Virgo rules the 6th house, which is focused on day-to-day activities, obstacles, and your health. 6th house also rules known enemies, whereas the 12th house would rule the hidden enemies. So this might stir up some competition, possibly with coworkers or team members. Because Mercury causes us to have an issue with focus, this is definitely a time period that astrologers would suggest to not sign any contracts. These are business contracts, marriage contracts, and also the beginnings of relationships. It's okay to meet someone during Mercury in retrograde, but it's suggested to take your time. When Mercury goes direct, you might find yourself viewing your partner differently than when you first met them. Because of clouded judgment, you might catch something that you missed before, or discover that you were a little bit more laxed about your standards than you normally are. This, however, is the perfect time to reconcile. Because a retrograde is all about reflection, this is a time period to go back in the past and see what could have been fixed for the future. After about 3 weeks, Mercury hits direct. Anything that you've reflected on that you plan to do on the new side, when Mercury goes direct would be the more appropriate time to set those things and go. Once Mercury goes in direct out of retrograde, it goes through about 3 weeks of its post-shadow period. The post-shadow is really the time that you come back from vacation. You're kind of unpacking, going back to work, and you start to rear things up to jet forward and take action on everything you've reflected about. With Mercury going in retrograde about 3 to 4 times a year, this makes about 19% to 1/4 of the population to be born during a Mercury in retrograde transit. I myself was born during this time, and one thing I can definitely say is that it does make a difference. This is a time period when people that were born during Mercury in retrograde really feel like they're a lot more focused and able to grab onto ideas quicker than the norm. Still, I would advise anyone, whether born during Mercury in retrograde or not, to always make sure to reread contracts. This is not, again, saying that you can't involve yourself in a contract if you have to. There are plenty of times that people get new jobs, or they have to sign a contract for a lease or a car, whatever the case may be, and this is their only time to do so. It's not saying don't do it if you absolutely need to, but this is definitely a time period to realize that you really need to reread over and over again a few times to make sure that you're seeing everything exactly how it is, and so there's no confusion and issues once Mercury goes direct. The point of Mercury in retrograde is to stop what you're doing as far as going forward and to focus on the communication that has been done in the past. This is a time period to reflect on things that should have been said, could have been said differently, or were expressed completely the wrong way. Based off of where Mercury is retrograding in your birth chart can definitely help you utilize the energy to reflect and revisit any communication, offering edits that can jolt you forward in a positive way.